Continue in verse 6. Remember, there is no division here. There is no chapter 6 here. It goes straight into the other thought. So Paul's still talking about the same thing. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, now listen to this. Ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted.
Now, someone don't want to hear.
Now listen. This is talking about when you see somebody acting like that. Don't be acting like you can't believe it. Don't be acting like this blows your mind. Like you're so shocked that somebody could be acting so badly. Paul said, watch yourself, because the next day you'll be acting the same way. Why? Because it's the fruit of the flesh. You slip over in that flesh, that's what you're going to do. If you're walking in the spirit, this is what you're going to do. An apple tree is not, you don't have to go wipe the sweat off an apple tree's brow because it's trying so hard to grow an apple. That's just what it does. Okay? So when you are walking in the spirit, you don't have to try like you trying to pass a kidney stone to do right. Because you're walking in the spirit. Yeah. You're thinking that way. You're pre-wired for this right now. Same way in the flesh. Don't nobody have to push you to do wrong when you're in the flesh. You try to do it. You want to do it, and you're going to do it. You're going to do it. So it says, now, so it also teaches us how to treat somebody who's doing it. And, because the worst thing you can do is get into it with them people. Yeah. The worst thing you do is try to call somebody to the carpet, because they're not going to come clean. They're not going to come clean. They're not going to say, you right, you got me. Only place that happens on Matlock. Yeah. They be up in the front of the courtroom talking to somebody in the back. Okay, I did it. It was me. That's why there wasn't no black people on Matlock, because black people don't agree to nothing. They don't admit to nothing. You can have the video, you can have DNA and AAA card. They ain't admitting to nothing. They ain't admitting to nothing. But see, this is why Paul is saying that. It's because that is a fruit, and it is an abundant fruit of the flesh. And so, you right, and somebody's done wrong, and then you try to confront them, and next thing you know, you done got all in the flesh.
Unless you be tempted.
Exactly. He said, we talked about last week that proverb. It says, don't argue with a fool, because people from a distance can't tell which one of y'all is a fool. From a distance, it looks like both of y'all right. just as foolish. Both of y'all are idiots from afar off. Because they don't have all that information. They don't know. All they know is you acting just like them, and they acting just like you. And you having a heart attack because you just know you're right. So, when we're walking in the Spirit, it's the easiest life that we can live. When we see somebody else, remember everything works by love. Verse 2 says, bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. The law of Christ is the law of love. And when when Jesus came, they were a society that was based in the Old Testament. Whenever it talks about the law, it's talking about the Old Testament. They was big on Moses and Ten Commandments and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the leaders were all big on that stuff, and none of them could keep it, but the leaders were big on that. And so they asked Jesus. They were always trying to catch him. They was always trying to get him to blaspheme or say something that they could catch him on and say, see, you don't know what you're talking about. Always trying to do that. And so they asked him which was the greatest commandment. And now you guys also remember too that there were 10 headliners, and then underneath the 10 were hundreds. Okay. So the 10 commandments that we see,
that's what's in the marquee.
Exactly. They were just the tops. Right. Underneath each of those, there were actually categories, and underneath them were hundreds of things that none of them people could do. Yeah, it was. Go through Leviticus and see all them things that they couldn't do. All those fell underneath the heading. So when they came to Jesus and asked him which was the greatest commandment, they trying to get him into some stuff. Jesus said this. He said, there's only two. He said, love the Lord your God with all your heart. And it said, love your neighbor as yourself. After that, they ain't the greatest. Ain't no more. Just those two. Because if you do those, you'll satisfy everything else. That's what Paul's talking about, the law of Christ. He's talking about the law of love. And when you live like that, and you walk like that, and you see things like that, that's when that spirit is talking to you. And you're about to win. So when it says, bear you one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ, for if a man think himself to be something when he's nothing, he deceives himself. We're going to stop right there. That is the doorknob to self-deception. Is thinking that you're above something like that, and you think you don't have to go and you don't have to get in this word and you don't have to meditate and you don't have to practice it. What did we say? We said meditate the word. We said practice the word. What else did we say? We said make the word first place in your life, and then we said listen to the voice of your spirit quickly. Yep, that's the last one. So people think that they can get through this without doing that, because you have to get it in there. If you need some gas in your car, you don't take $20, ball it up, and put it in your gas tank.
And that's the gas.
You ain't gonna go very far. Your gas tank will be full of money. There has to be a way you convert that money to gas. We call it a gas station. We call it a Huff and Shell. Exactly. This is how we have to do it. And we take this word and then we assimilate it, and then it comes out in our behavior, and it comes out in how we see things. I'm telling you, when your spirit is strong, then a victory is when you walked in love. If your flesh is stronger and you walk in love, then you're going to feel slighted, you're going to feel taken advantage of, you're going to feel like you lost, and then you're going to have to go talk ugly to somebody so you can feel better about yourself.
So you don't want somewhere.
Exactly. But when your spirit is strong, I'm telling y'all, you see things differently.